So I'll say welcome to those who are joining for episode 2 of this series called I called it Seeing Roundnet. And I like that because it goes along with the quote that we discussed at the start of episode 1. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. A lot of people liked it. I'll probably keep them private for now until we're ready and I'm sort of figured out how each episode in the series wants to look if we put it to a greater audience or a bigger audience, I should say. But yeah, a lot of good feedback. I don't know if you watched or saw some of the feedback on the video too, but a lot of people reached out personally and commented on the first video we did. So it was
Nice.
seems like a lot of people like it. And yeah, so today let's get into it. It's again, Thomas is with me, as you obviously just heard him, and you can see him. And today we're gonna go through some Kingdom Come versus Rogue footage. Those who know, right? Didn't go the way that Thomas would have wanted. It went to the way of Kingdom Come, which started pretty much their big streak in the bracket play to then go on and yeah, take the whole championship. So we're going to be watching game 1 and game 3 today. We're going to try and move at a quicker pace than we did on the first one. I loved every minute of the first one, but we only went
Yeah.
through one game in like an hour and 10 minutes. So we're going to try and speed on and maybe not go through some points in as much detail, sort of look at it a bit on a bigger perspective. And with that said, let's get into the footage, sort of roll the footage in the background while I ask you personally, like, what was your thoughts before this game? Because I'm sure you was expecting it to be quite like a tough matchup, but I don't think you obviously expected it to go the way it did. So what were your thoughts before the game?
Yeah, my thoughts before this game. I mean, I'm always a little bit worried playing the big boy Clap, He's got some of the craziest serves. And even though I probably get more reps against them than a lot of other pro players, with him being the Midwest, uh yeah, he's always difficult to deal with. And yeah, it's tough playing like a good friend like that too. Like him and J Bar, I don't like knocking him out of a tournament. But as you saw, he just knocked me knocked me out there.
Just on cue. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, he's so tough. And this is a little new too. He used to go for rights. It's usually kind of like honestly a blessing when Ryan and I have to receive him going righty. So we're like,
Mhm.
oh, thankfully we can get this. But yeah, I mean, his just how wide he can hit it. His point B, his lefty cut. It's just so wide, and so fast, and
Mhm.
he's just freaking brutal to return. So yeah, we're gonna see a lot of that this series.
Yeah, I I'll be honest, I haven't watched a huge amount of this series. I did watch a little bit of game 2. And game 2 was like he hit like must have got like 11 breaks in that game and he got about 6 back to back, 7 even maybe.
Yeah,
I was yeah, it was amazing. I think it's funny because we talked last week about like server, right? Having a wide point A and point B, that being a wide righty cut being point A and a wide lefty cut being a point B. And Clap obviously then has the for him, because he's a lefty, it'd be point D would be the reverse.
yeah,
They and it's like we say like as a server, right? The wider your range, great, because now you're demanding more of a serve receiver. But not only does he have this humongous range humongous range, like because he's also like 6'3", 6'4", like he's a giant of a man with
it's
massive
6'5".
reach. He's
Yeah,
6'5", you're right. Like as a great serve there by Marino, but yeah, like this massive reach, wingspan too. So like his golden zone is now much greater than most people's. Like his distance between his golden zones, meaning that now, of course, his angles can be that little bit wider than other people. If you only have a wingspan of like, you know, let's say, a 5'2" guy, your range, even if you get great spin on the ball, which Grant does have, but even if he didn't, you get nowhere near his range.
right.
But on that point, to my point, basically, is great range, massive range, but also he hits it so damn hard. Like I've seen some of these serves, especially in game 2, like just rockets,
Yeah,
absolute
I,
rockets.
and we've played him before. Like, I mean, we had this is the first time they beat us this year. I want to say we've played them 3 or 4 other times, and I've played him at a lot of MRA events. He's always been tough to receive. Uh, but today was, or on the championship day, like it was the best I've ever seen him serve. Like he hit this reverse on me that I was just like, I think that's got to be like top three serves I've like had to receive ever.
Mhm.
And I did. I mean, yeah, it was crazy. He was playing so consistently, so good. And on top of that, him and Matt Cole, they just both just played super like great throughout the whole day. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's hats off to both of them. I mean, they both like fundamentally overall they played amazing. But yeah, Clap serving was on another whole other level.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but in regards to you said you played them like three times previously to this time. I mean, how much different? What was like? I mean, I'm assuming the main factor was Grant's consistency because he show that's the same serves when you played him before. He just didn't land them as consistently as on the championship. Was that like the big factor, or was it
Oh,
Matt's supporting consistency was also so high? So even when you got a break from Clap, you also then had to receive also a top serve from Matt, as we see, a good serve there, touch, but yeah, not a conversion on the video. But yeah, was that like the biggest thing in his like consistency, or was he was just hitting angles that you'd never received earlier on in the season before?
I would say consistency was the big thing. He's never usually that consistent. And some of the serves, you're gonna see some that get me that. I think a lot of the ones he hit on Ryan were like the level that he just raised the bar for himself, which was it's not we're not used to because, like I said, we both have played him so many times. Just the week before this, I want to say a week or two before this, Ryan played against him and just crushed him in an MRA tournament. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just the level of serve that he was hitting was a little the level of potential serve he could hit was a little different, which made his normal ones scary too. Because I was just like, oh shoot, like it's not the crazy one. Like I'm reaching too far. Like I'm overthinking it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very brutal.
And this is game one, so you guys end up actually winning this game. Like again, was like regards to the difference between game two and three. Did you expect them to come out that hot in game two after you guys taking the first set in game one?
Yeah, because Grant got some in this one, and I was like before the second game, I was telling Ryan, I'm like, all right, that was good. Like, let's try to take it in two, but we know what he could do. We know what Grant is really capable of, and we're capable of the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
serving wise. So we're just like, all right, we got to be like on our game for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely like the X factor that they don't usually have.
Does it?
Not to knock him. By the way, but I want to say like throughout the whole year, Matt Cole's been like super consistent and like very like clean, and I've always like held Matt in like high regards to that. Where I mean Grant like is one of like a good buddy of mine, but
Mm-hmm.
he's just hasn't been as clean overall, and I think that was the other like big thing is that he was playing not just serving, but he was playing at like a more clean, consistent level. Um, yeah, and that was huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, needed. Again, surprises me when you say that, Matt's been very consistent all year and, they managed to put this all together for the championship, given that, they needed to have that level of consistency against so many top opposition. Like, if you lack consistency throughout the whole year, somewhat, and I mean, it also shows given that I don't think they podiumed at any major, throughout the year. I think they come top three in a couple of challenges.
Yeah,
Fourth place in Richmond, and maybe fourth place at one or two other events, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, right? They haven't been absolutely at the absolute top, and they haven't beat so many top teams throughout the year, and then they beat so many back to back to back. I mean,
yeah,
it's like wow, yeah.
yeah. It was crazy too seeing the difference, and I mean, yeah, it was just so wild the day of. I was just like, holy cow! Like they're just playing like that second game. I was just like, what the hell is this? Like he's just popping off. And even when we would return serves, it was like we're in this panic mode, and usually you could kind of just rip one and put it away, but like they were both like so on point. Like Grant would get a touch, and I don't know if it's in the second game or the third game, but Matt Cole has this layout of just like
I feel that
this
I
just
have seen that. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, dude, it's just so like it was just so tough because it's like, oh, that was our one break, like our one way to get back in and get the
Yeah.
ball back in our hands, and then that makes this amazing play. So it's
Them are so
just
demoralizing, right? Get a great touch, or you get a little lip up on the serve or a roll up, and you're like, yes, yeah. And then you get the
yeah,
defensive touch on that. You got to return the guy again. Oh, did you feel in general they? Oh, that's a great touch. It's a good set too. That's a great touch by Grant. Wow, what a touch by Ryan. What's a point? Wow.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Oh no, Thomas Caldano hit zone.
Like, I remember that. I remember being like,
Oh,
no.
it's
'Cause
so
I like
tough.
in that moment, I was like, look down, like check your feet just in
Yeah,
case.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
was all happening so quick. I was like, no, I just gotta rip one, put it away.
Yeah. Yeah, playing
I
that
thought
all
it was in
day.
good time. Yeah,
India, Grant just ripping on a two. That's a great touch by you. We both at good spots. Set by Ryan's good. Did Grant put you off here at all? Like in your hit? Like, I mean, just out of question, because it looks like you go for like a shuffle step here instead of maybe a potential cross step because you like want to take that space. But then when you take that space, he's like right on you.
maybe. Yeah, I think I just saw them both there, and I'm like, oh, I could just rip a left here. Did he touch? It's a little
And
choppy
Grant
sometimes.
takes it, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable defense from Grant. Like that's what we
Yeah,
don't see happen. Like this is what we talked about. I think when we've gone through defense, right? It's like your angles, right? If we like, if we sketch a little line, it's like your angles. It's a little maybe off net. It looks like the set. So your angles is like this. Like that's the way you're going to hit it in. Maybe a tiny bit wider, right? That's like the way you're
yeah,
going to hit it in. We see so often when people like see this where Grant is now, we see so many people run to this point here, right? We like
yeah,
to call it point C. It's like you take up no angle. Sorry, yeah, you take up no angle, but you give yourself loads of time. Or you go, he could come straight here and body block, give himself no time, but you take up, a good amount of angle. But
right.
he finds this perfect point B here, where he gives himself just enough, like the perfect amount of time while taking off a huge amount of angle. And Matt does the same on the other side. Like again, I can't stress how many times you see players do this. They just go, "Oh, the ball's going in this direction," and Matt runs here, and Grant runs here, and the ball goes straight between them before either of them get a touch. But like they've both done so well, and they're not just running this like back here. They're going, oh crap, we need to get a touch now or never. A touch now
Yeah,
is better than no touch, and they just cut that line. And this hand by Grant is fantastic.
yeah. I think my like the shot I was going for too. I was just trying to hit like that
Quickly
middle
past
shot.
them.
Yeah, and in
Yeah,
hindsight, maybe I should have just like ripped even more like towards Matt Cole because I feel like it's maybe a little bit harder. I could see him,
yeah.
and I
He
could
he
like,
definitely doesn't cut off the line as much as Grant. Like he's running
yeah,
a little bit parallel, but
and
Grant,
I
yeah. I mean,
see him cheap. I could like try to like sneak it around him a little
yeah.
bit.
Oh yeah.
But just a crazy touch from Clap. I feel like majority of the time I will try to hit that shot, and most people won't.
Oh yeah, agreed. But that's like again, like defense is not where it could or will be next year, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But on that note, like I just want to note that, like Grant, that was not just a sick touch. Look at him after this touch. Look at his movement. Touch, bang! What a set over the shoulder. Looks like an inch or a square off net on the left. Great
yeah,
hit.
no,
You guys are in great spots. Like you and Ryan this is what you get in call point B. Like both you guys. Like again, just
yeah,
to like visualize this for people, right? Like his maximum push is there. His maximum pull is there. Like it's not great. I can't do it that well because it's on the, it's the like a 2D image basically or 3D image, and I'm trying to do a 2D illustration. But like Ryan's left hand is taking up his maximum pull here. You're taking up his maximum push. You're forcing it between you. Both of you are like not too far away because if Ryan was standing here and you were standing back here, he could boom it over either of you, and the ball would ascend over you by the time you'd even get a chance of getting a touch. And you're
right.
also not too close to give yourself the maximum amount of time. Just like you guys are in great, defensive spots now on the rally. Ryan then gets the sick touch.
I think it's a good shout out to Matt too for like offhand or off net, offhand, like him
Yeah.
just kind of being like, all right, make it challenging. I need to rip one. I feel like there's a lot of pro players that will go for like a weird backhand or like a weak left here and try to do
Yep.
something tricky. Makes the point easier to get. Where here, Ryan had to get a crazy touch. He gave me a good set. This should have been a point, but
Yeah.
my
Man,
toe.
was it your right foot or your left that they called in?
It's my right foot.
Your right
I
foot.
thought like at the
That's
time
very
too,
close.
after
Yeah.
yeah, like Rich called me and I was like, I just put my head down, like, yeah. And I was like, how bad was I in? He's like, oh, it's just your toe. I was like, okay, like I thought my whole foot was for a second. But it's the foot or toe, don't matter.
Damn, that's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that from Ryan. But at least yeah.
Matt and Grant celebrating. That was the ones you love.
I didn't see what I did.
They're the ones you never ever get without an observer. Like zero chance anyone sees that, thinks about that, questions that.
Yeah.
Good shout. Great. That's why you have an observer.
And that's
Yeah.
why you should practice with turf circles, I think, too. It's probably a big thing.
Say that again. Why you
I
should
don't
what?
do practice with like literal turf circles if you're able to, or something physical.
That's a
Or
good point.
yeah, so that way you could feel it a little bit and be honest with yourself, and get used to really being out. Because yeah, when
Yeah.
you have observers, yeah, you're gonna get forced.
Yep.
Tough to receive.
Yep.
But I just where did Ryan receive that or set that?
Where did he set it from, or where did he set you?
What he set it from. Let's see.
There. I mean, they're quite late.
Oh,
However, the only thing
they're
they're
like
quite late in the getting in their positions. All right, they're not really opposite each other, and they're not also the same distance of the ball to the net. The only thing I will say is that Ryan gives you
bigger.
loads and loads of height, and with this
Yeah,
additional height, I think he gives you. It's a hard set, so I'm not questioning that. Like it's a good set in regards to the situation he was put in. But if we're talking about the detail of, he's given you more height than you need. And for every inch that he's giving you more height is obviously more time the defense to get in position and track the set of where it's landing. And I think they do that very well. Like, look, Matt and Grant have already realized this ball was landing pretty much, on the sweet spot of your left hand. And now they're like,
yeah,
damn, yeah, we know where the balls could go, and they're getting in those spots.
yeah. That was just I tried to put top spin and tool him. Not a shot I recommend doing everything. I do kind of do that at times, but I do not recommend going for it really often. It's
What would
you
you
get the
prefer
wrong
to done
spin
there?
or
What
they
would you
just
prefer
touch
to
it.
done in that situation? Like, if you look at that again, like, what would you? I mean, I don't think you have too many options because again, you've had to wait on the ball for a long time. If you get your feet sorted early, maybe you could boom, because it's good height on the
Yeah, I was
set.
about to say booming it or
Because I
I
think
mean, yeah, it's probably
they're
the best
both in
option
good.
or trying to go for a big pole. But
Mm.
yeah, yeah, either that option. If Matt was standing out more, I think he would have seen me go for a boom. I think because he came in, I was like, okay, this is a little bit easier. I know I could try to just sneak this into him
Mm-hmm.
and get to go down and off of him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Also, it would have been an off-hand boom as well. It wouldn't have been the easiest one, especially because you needed to adjust your feet before making that boom.
right.
Yeah. I don't know what the score is, but it doesn't matter too much right now.
We have
That's
to
a
make a little
saying.
comeback. But yeah, Ryan, dude. Let me see Grant's footwork when we do this too. So Ryan,
So starting point, I think he's pretty good. Um,
yeah,
he looks good. He looks also good distance, right? Because the distance depends on the range of the server, and Ryan's range is massive, so you need to be that
yeah,
little bit closer to take more of a percentage of his range. And that's just for a point for people watching, right? That everyone has a reach, right? Grant's reach is pretty damn wide because his wingspan is a 6'5" human. Someone who's 5'2" maybe not have a big of a reach, but your reach is that it's like that is your reach. With every step you take back from the service line, the less of a percentage you're taking of the server's range. So if Ryan has like a range, of a really wide point A, a really wide point B, and let's say it's 100 degrees to make it clear
mm,
or easy. If it's 100 degrees, then if Grant now takes 2 steps back from the service line, he's now maybe only taking up with his reach 30% of that range.
right.
If he takes, if he goes by the no hit zone, he's taking up 90% of the range, but then he's giving himself no time. So he's trying to give your starting position depends on, trying to give yourself that balance of time and percentage of the range. And that's dependent on your reach, as a serve receiver. Um,
I think he just gets a little late here to meeting him in the middle. Like he's shuffling still, and
yeah, I
then
just don't think he
Ryan just
shuffles. He just doesn't. He looks like he goes in the midpoint, like he's in the midpoint A and B, but then Ryan's a lateral tosser, right? So you need to now move as soon as he tosses that ball. And same with Vinny. Like you see Clark all the time. Like you get opposite, or you get in the midpoint, and then you step with them, and then as soon as they toss it, that's when you go because Ryan now can't hit a lefty. So now Grant wants to be between his righty cut and his righty reverse. And here, as this ball's tossed, like you can see, he's not shuffling.
yeah, he's kind of like on his heels a bit too. It looks like he's not really like on the balls of his feet, on his toes, and looking for that quick shuffle.
I think he's relying quite a bit on his reach because his reach is so
Yeah,
large, and he covers so much range with his reach. But I think you'll see if we overlay. I don't have the video right now, but if you overlaid, Clark, Clark, serve receiving Vinny that I know I've gone through before, but I mean we're going to see you guys serve receive each other too. But it's like being in that midpoint, and then as soon as that ball is tossed, that's when you then move because your midpoint has changed because it's not A and B, it's now A and C, i.e. the right cut, right reverse. If you don't shuffle step, then you're going to get beat because
yeah,
yeah, because you're now going to be too far away from point A to get a touch.
right. I think Matt Cole does that pretty well too. He's pretty good at shuffling. He's got better throughout the year too.
I was going to say Matt Cole is a very underrated serve receiver.
Yeah, no, he's very very he doesn't overly rely on his reach. You could see his footwork. He really shuffles for it.
That would have been an awful time to get aced, wouldn't it? Scott,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Thomas, what are you talking about?
I remember this point. I remember missing this defensive touch too. It was like I was like right there.
Like it's a good serve. Ryan gets a little trapped. You guys are sort of okay-ish. I mean, you're a little bit more opposite each other, so it's easier for you guys to cut, whatever angles get. And then I mean, yeah, it's funny, right? Because you guys are now you're not 180, but you're both now like too far to the push. And then Grant, I don't know whether he intentionally set him for the pull. I mean, knowing Grant, he probably did. But I don't know if he meant to do it this far off net, because he absolutely only gave him the option of the pull.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because you guys are that little bit too far and close to the push to begin with, it's too much ground for you to cover. You'd have to do what Grant did earlier and absolutely cut that line.
Yeah, I didn't cut off angle.
I mean, it's such a hard touch. It's also not a skill we practice too much. Like I need to think about like just practicing that, like a drill and something, just to get that in your head of like the more out of position you are, the more you're running towards point A and cutting off that line because otherwise you're never going to get a touch. Yeah, it's a good serve again. It's just so quick. Like even when we're watching it now, like I mean, it's funny because Tops when he was watching back your guys' he was when he met you guys at the championship. He was like, yeah, they hit it so hard. Like I've never seen like Thomas and Ryan hit it so hard, and it's like funny because like yeah, but yeah, you guys hit it hard, but it's like well now Grant hits it so hard.
Yeah, and I think a big issue here that I do with Grant is you see, I'm not cutting off the circle. Like I'm not cutting off angle. I'm just going out because I'm so scared of that that power he puts on it, and I want to give myself more time. But when you're trying to give yourself more time by not cutting off the angle or staying out, like you said, where he's getting more angle.
It's just yeah, that's put so well. It's like it's a negative circle. It's like even if you've decided that distance, if you then move back because you want it, because you naturally want to give yourself more time because he hits it so hard, you then kill that angle and then you get no touched or then you get beaten wide because your reach doesn't take up that percentage that it needs to of the range the server has. But it's just so hard. Like it's so easy to do that. It's so hard to like as a serve receiver. It's just so hard to be like, no, I'm gonna keep. It would be a stupid thought. It's like, no, I'm gonna keep on serve receiving at 7 feet and get bad touches, even though that touch hasn't even happened yet. You might get a good touch, like you don't know yet, but you subconsciously think, no, he's not going to hit his best one right now, so I can give myself that time. Then you're like, oh shit, it was his best one.
Easier said than done. For sure. Yeah, the thing is too, like watching last week, like me receiving Vinny, like that was one thing I think I did really well was cut off the circle.
Yeah, agreed.
But I think there's part of it for me. don't know how much of this has been like about how much people have thought, but because he goes left and right, and because I'm so used to it, it my feet are already shuffling forward. I'm more used to it. Where Grant kind of keeps me still, and where I'm like, oh shoot, I'm stuck between his point B and his point D instead of point A and B of
Hmm.
righty and lefty cut. I'm at his lefty cut and lefty reverse, and it's this like I feel like I kind of mix myself up on the footwork.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's yeah, another really good point. And I think yeah, watching back on that serve that we saw Grant, or sorry, you just hit. Yeah, I was just gonna say as the point as you said there about that. I mean, again, just like this, like that is just so clean in regards to before we go back to the service exam. I mean, there's going to be like quite a lot of examples that we're going to be able to go through. Um, I mean, that was just so clean. And this again, of game two that I watched when you guys did get a touch or anything, I was just surprised by how clean Kingdom Come played in those moments. So it just made sense when I was just watching back that clip. Um,
Right.
but but yeah, back to serve receive. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we're gonna get loads of more examples, but yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that against Vinny though, like how against Vinny because you're used to taking those, you're taking those mini steps, and you're like you're just thinking so much about A and B, and
Mhm.
therefore because you're just thinking so much about A and B, your your shuffle step is probably better because you're not having to worry too much about the reverse, and therefore when you're shuffling, you're just shuffling thinking about the cut. Whereas
Yeah.
with Grant, you're shuffling, but you're like, could be so I don't want to shuffle too hard, but now if I don't shuffle early enough, I'm going to get beat by the cut speed, and now it's the speed so much. I want to take a little bit of a step back, and like all those things. That's a great receive though. Nice touch, or lip up touch. Great touch by you. Oh, damn.
I didn't get it up enough.
Yeah. But yeah, it is. I mean, I don't think is there anyone that serves as hard as Grant? I mean, maybe Fred.
There's people that serve as hard, but they don't. They're like Grant's B to D, like his ratio, his angle is just so absurd. Um,
Mhm.
comparatively, like I have the way I tried to receive Grant, I think is kind of what I do against Fred, where instead of cutting off the angle, I just kind of take a shot out so I get, when he hits that cut, because it's so much more powerful than his reverse, I give myself a little less time, and that's fine for me. But with Grant, it's just his angle is just so wide, and on today it was just so consistent too.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think anyone quite hits it as hard and as wide as him.
And do you think that's because of his reach because he's 6'5"? Like,
Oh, he's not just 6'5", like he's also like 200 something, I think. Like he's
yeah, I mean he's a
it's
big
not
boy.
it's
Yeah,
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 he's not like he's athletic. He's a strong kid. He's just
yeah.
quite really built different. uh, yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean he's just a pain to deal with. But I think it might be worth it another time to look at how Fred and Gabe played against him, because I feel like someone like Fred, who's used, like the people he practices with, they're more about beating you with, cut in reverse, the A and C. So he's a little bit more used to that versus going from A to B, the lefty and righty.
Also true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to see how he received him, because I bet you he did a lot better than I did. Because you're gonna see there's some like reverse cuts specifically that Grant lands on me that aren't his best ones. They're not wide or anything. They just miss my hand a little bit. Just something's off, and I don't. I think specifically I don't shuffle. I just reach for it, and
Hmm.
something about that reverse to cut really gets me to not use my footwork
Hmm.
in this series
But
and
it's
against
also
him.
but it's also I had this thought the other day. It's the fact that serving progress so much quicker than serve receive, and also with the reverse. So you've got to think that before you ever get any reverse repetitions as a serve receiver, somebody has to learn to be a good reverse hitter. Like they have to learn how to hit a
Yeah,
good reverse. And until somebody hits 10, I don't know how many attempts it takes to have a good reverse, a really high level reverse, but let's say in the ballpark of 3,000, just with, let's say good information, general information, right? Let's say 3,000, right? Ballpark. Anyway, so somebody's had to put in 3,000 repetitions to learn a reverse clutch to get a good jump and get it consistent. Until that moment, they're not probably hitting too many in games or in practice, So then suddenly this kid has got a reverse that jumps wild. You've never serve received it before. Your first rep that you get the opportunity to serve receive a reverse, you get gapped by 4 feet, probably, right? Because you've never had it before. So now you need to get as many reps. You need to get 3,000 reverse reps to now be in an equal standpoint, equal playing field with the guy that's learned his reverse. Yet while you're trying to get your 3,000 reverse repetitions on serve receive, this kid's hit another 12,000 reverses.
Yeah.
Like, on that note, before is why I paused the video. It's funny. We always, even when we're setting, we always try and avoid the no hit zone. Look at Ryan here, and it's no like. I don't think he's gonna get there anyway, right? But if you play this, you get this touch, and look, he jumps over the no hit zone because he doesn't want to be inside. Now again, I don't know. Look, there's probably low chance he's going to get there anyway, but it's like it's crazy how like how fundamental we've got it pinned in our heads now. Like, don't be inside the no hit zone, even when we can. Oh,
that's funny. Oh, man, I was so disappointed in myself there too. I was like, dang it, dude! I got the touch, just like not up enough or directed enough. Yeah.
Timeout.
This was a fun. Oh, did I take one after that?
I'm not sure.
I don't know why I didn't take my injury time. I should have used my injury timeouts too. In hindsight, I was like, "There's no sound in this," but I was coughing up a storm. I forgot what game, but I was weirdly down bad. Oh yeah, this was a break. I did take a timeout.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you took a timeout straight after. You have any idea what the score is right now?
I want to say yeah. I want to say it was like 16, like 15. I could be really wrong, or 17-15.
Okay.
We end up getting a little comeback. Let's see. Probably freaking rails me here. Oh. That's huge. That's huge. Double fault.
Yeah, double fault after the timeout with Grant serving while they're up. That's
I think we get a defensive run here. This is an option too, like going in my head, like late game. There's times where I decide like I need to go for more, and there's times I need to go for less. And that is like, it looked like a lot, but that is just like a step out lefty cut. That's very simple for me. Like that's tough set. That's kind of like that's a non-serve for me. I'd say to like a lot newer players too, like fakes and stuff are huge, but don't forget like your basic bread and butter, like your on serves. You want those to be dangerous. Like when I'm feeling like I need something on, I could just go for that, and it will still be able to ace and give really good players touches or bad touches here.
Which is like not really conceivable for most people when again like sport and serving was like awful 6 years ago, and now just think of I'm just going to put on offhand lefty cut as my on serve that I can land 9 out of 10 times. Like I'm just going to do that, right? That's like, but I do think that's very much the way the game's going to go, the sport's going to go in the coming years. Like that's just like tennis. Like my second serve, I'm just going to take 10 miles an hour off it, but I'm still going to hit good landing zone on the serve in tennis. Yeah. I mean, it's a good serve. Yeah, it's a good receive as well.
Yeah, it's good footwork. Maybe just the speed of it cut off a little bit because the touch, not quite. Oh no, it's a good touch. So it's just low.
Question for you: what is your stance on serve receivers standing square when it's not serve receivers, sorry, but non-playing players standing square when they're not involved? Because I think they should have a staggered step. Because one, you see them fall in sometimes because now they lose their balance sometimes, and also because this is a slower movement unless you're on your toes. So as soon as he gets that touch, you're now going to have to move your weight forward towards your toes, then split step, and then move.
I I'd say with setting 100%. Like if you see me setting, I'm never like standing square. I'm like literally looking like I'm about to run sometimes. Defense is a little different because uh a lot of times Ryan's gonna wait to watch what's happening instead of just moving, and then take a step in or shuffle with the seven. I kind of do that too. I think it depends more so where he's serving to, like what my opponent's doing. Like if I'm on their right hand, which is like their more likely shot, or if I'm on their offhand.
Yeah. Okay. Because
Yeah, you can see
just
Ryan's kind of just waiting in a nail, like and yeah, analyzing. Matt Cole kind of had like a more staggered step, like he should have because he had to go set.
that's
Yeah.
he
Oh,
slipped,
he slipped.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Footwork, huge part of setting. Very underrated part of setting.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have good footwork, you're going to struggle to do everything else because you're not going to be in position. It's like getting your standing foot wrong in soccer. Put your standing foot like 3 feet from the ball, you're going to really struggle. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Tough set. Tough hit.
Yeah,
Big break.
that was a huge break, and I think we get another one here, number two, and same idea for me. Like when I need my head here, I'm like, that worked. Just gotta put them on. I tried doing this later, I thinking like game 2 or 3 to no avail. I was like, I just put on hard, good ones. Like you need something here, and it was not the move. Oh, I don't know why they play that too. Yeah, that's the thing. So going in my head, I'm like, I need to put on here. And even if I do a big double fault, they're still both like, oh, it's Thomas. Like he could go off. They don't know that. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just want to put one on. So Matt
It's also your
just gonna
first
play
serve.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So,
But I'm saying like my plan would have been just to go for a step out righty or lefty on
yeah.
that second.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Right, being a good. Did he? Oh, he had to drop it on. That's a tough set.
Yeah, it just looks like
made him play.
Grant just didn't let it drop too much. Like this is the thing, right? Is that
you watch this again?
Yeah. Just comes off his fingers. Just doesn't track it. Yeah. It just looks like it comes off the top third of his hand. Then just doesn't go where he wants it to go. But what I was gonna say is people forget that let's say this doesn't come off his fingers. Matt still isn't at the net at the time of when he's making the set. And in the ideal world, the easiest way for the hitter and the setter is that the hitter is already at the net when the setter is about to set, because therefore you don't need to add and put an additional height on the set because the hitter's ready. Right. If the hitter's not ready, then I might have to give him a little bit more time. And again, we talked earlier about that additional time and height you put on the set is more time for the defense to track the set. And maybe, I mean, an option here and just an option in general is like Grant could decide to let this ball drop to like, and take it much lower down and let it drop here, bend his knees more and let it drop. Because in the additional time that this ball has to go from there to here, and then also because it's going from here to there, that's let's say 0.3 seconds. The ball would then have to travel up from here again towards the net, now increasing the length of the set.
Yeah.
So that would now give, Matt more time to be able to get set for his hit. Because now once he's setting, he's probably here. If he lets that ball drop a little bit more. I mean, we've seen actually Katie Pearson do this quite often. It's a really good technique. Like one way to give your hitter more time without giving the set more height is just to take it lower. The only thing with that is if you take it lower, you're now going to...
There.
Sorry?
It's just kind of naturally there.
Sorry, say that again. What naturally there? What do you mean?
Like her height already is naturally lower, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Also, I don't know if I got you there with what do you mean? I don't know if that counts, but if I did,
I didn't know you. I didn't even know
that's unbelievable. Okay, you don't know.
I think it's only an American game. Actually, I didn't know you guys could play that.
As soon as Connor Prelit came over to Europe, it was an international game. But I'll let you off. Anyway, my point is, yes, okay, Katie is a little bit shorter, so it's easier for her to let it drop lower. But in general, she does do a good job in particular times. And if we do analyze it one time, you'll see that she'll take the ball like knee height. Because setting form is not changing. She's still at 90 degrees with her arm, and she's just now just bending her legs more. Same in volleyball, right? You could just good form, but if you want to bend your legs more and take it lower, all you just do is bend your legs and get in more of like a bent position. But anyway, the whole point of this is that Grant could do that because he'd given then Matt more time to come to the net to then get ready for his hit. So he wouldn't have to then give as much height to the set. The only thing he would be giving is by instead of taking this ball here and taking it down here, maybe not that low, but let's just say lower, he would give both you and Marino more time to adjust and get at the right distance. Because right now you guys aren't at the great distance. But I mean, the set's so bad, so it doesn't matter because he only gets like 20 degrees to work with. But it would give you and Ryan more time to get these 180 and also the right distance from the net. So it's like advantage, disadvantage. I thought I'd just point that out because that sometimes happens when people. It's even for long rundowns when people's like taking a touchback here, and they're like, "Oh crap, my hit is only here, and I'm setting the ball here. Now I'm gonna have to give loads of height." Well, if you want to, just let the ball drop a little bit lower, and then set it. Because now you don't need to give the ball as much height. But yeah, thoughts.
I think too with the quick sets, like I think there's a lot of weird form with quick sets too. Like I feel like Grant's got his feet underneath him here, but it's just he's almost reaching for it a little bit.
He doesn't look too balanced.
Yeah, you can kind of just tell like he is just off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely it hits his fingertips, which is tough.
But nice, clean. We take those as the saying goes. That's 2 back-to-back breaks. And then did you guys win this one in 21-19 or that's another good serve? What a touch by Ryan. Is this 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the importance of just getting on serves too.
Yeah.
I wasn't going for some crazy like I need to hit this absolute banger. I was just like, I need to make him play.
Yep.
And by the way, my left hand is the more consistent one with the cut serves for some reason.
I think that's actually often. I mean, the same with me. Do you think it's because you only start really learning your offhand once you understand more of what you're doing, and then once you understand more of what you're doing, you then have less bad habits with your offhand because you've just accumulated all the good knowledge to your offhand. Then it becomes better than your good hand.
Yeah, there's no bad habits with the left. I like my toss could be wildly inconsistent when you're faking a lot. Sometimes you can't toss consistently. My left hand adjusts so often and just manages to make it cut. Where my right hand is not as not quite as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great body up from Ryan, dude.
It was a great buddy. Yeah, it was. It's a great break. Big break. 3 in a row. Injury time.
Like here, I should. Yeah, they took a little timeout.
You and Ryan doing the road drill.
Yeah, I like to do that from time to time. I think I'm just gonna hit a righty here. Try to. I was doing only combos this day too, which I regret.
Nice hit. Surprised me, Matt's starting position was pretty far back here.
Like this is what I failed to do. I failed to do. Yeah, it was really far.
No, his reading of the toss and his shuffle steps are so good that he gets there pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I failed to shuffle with Ryan here. I was really poor at this at the championship. Ryan would go for the pole, and I think because I was too far back for myself, like I think normally I would play a little bit closer or early in the year. And even if I noticed it late, like I did here, I'd be able to cut it off a little sooner. And that push is easier to body up then,
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be outside the 7-foot circle, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Because you're gonna most of the time be way too far to affect the play. So even though we say like you want to be the same distance as the setter when the setter is setting the hitter, you don't want to be outside the 7-foot circle. Otherwise, you're a lot of the times going to become irrelevant. Like it's a threshold of the 7-foot circle.
Right.
But
and even when you see it, like here, I just noticed it late. I need to be within the 7, and I would have got there quicker.
I agree. Yeah, I think you read the set decently. But yeah, if you was inside the 7, you'd be already at 1.5 steps closer. And then maybe you needed to cut off the angle just a little bit more. Like the more out of position you are, the more you go to point A instead of point B, because point B again perfect between angle and like your point B here would have been, Ryan's are in pretty much the spot he wants to be, because like Matt's options are like this. Again, it's not the greatest, but Ryan is like, Ryan's pretty much here. He's going to take his right hand's going to take this maximum pull. And then you, for every like inch you can't get to this point B, which would be like here, you then need to go closer to point A. And then,
Right.
I mean, I think that's the definition of like funneling, right? Is you're trying to move it towards your teammate who is in the point B. Because if they're not in point B, then it doesn't matter. You're now just body blocking. But funneling, I think, is for every step you now don't get to the perfect position, which is probably here for you and then there for Ryan. You then need to move more towards point A to take up more angle, give yourself less time, but at least then you could help funnel it towards Ryan, who did get in a good spot.
Right. Yeah. Cut it off. Make sure, time wise I could get there. But
that's such a hard skill. And it's also like we don't practice it. Like it's not again, it's like serve receive, like taking that step back. It's like it's so human to just be like, oh crap, I'm not there. So let me run back to give myself more time to get there, but not understanding that like that time is like it's done. It's like a finite of capacity that as soon as it goes, you're done. There's no point. There's not unlimited amount of time. You can run all the way back here, but the ball would drop before you get there.
Right. But if I was watching the setter staying on the 7 and being a little closer, it's just like I've practiced before too. It's just you tend to just like react to it so much quicker and like so much more. You're just reading it more. Like here, I am watching the setup, but I'm so concerned about
watching the set,
position, and I'm so far out. It's just like I'm not able to react quick enough. Yeah, just like a step or two in, I'm.
You definitely affect it, and you definitely then affect Matt's decision, and Matt then probably wraps it more towards Ryan, and then Ryan's in a good spot.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's continue. This game's coming to a conclusion, and then we can get straight to game 3. But game 3, fortunately or unfortunately for you, but fortunately maybe for the listeners, is that there's not too many rallies. There's not too much to discuss on that end, because I've heard there's quite a few aces, but
yeah,
we'll get to discuss some of those. Rim, that's a good look. Since Matt has changed his form, like I haven't seen Matt do this. Like he does like with his elbow. It's like he tosses it, and then he like he tosses it around his elbow, and then he wraps around it like with his elbow. It's just like it's not the greatest angle, but I haven't seen too many people do that before. It's a good set. Nice step through.
Sorry, my little brother was coming in to say hi.
It's good. Bang.
Yeah. Big fakes, man. That's such a big difference. That's what Ryan was telling me to do before, too. I don't want to, while we're getting recorded, I don't want to say anything for my opponent. It's coming up, but the way I'm serving is going to be a little different. Oh, my goodness, Ryan.
Another great one, yeah.
Makes such a difference, too.
Don't tease people like that, Thomas, all right?
I mean, I'm down to teach, your viewers and stuff, but,
it'll come out.
What if my enemies come in here and start picking up some stuff?
It's a great receive there and a great recovery set to get them back. Now ball in their hands to try and do something, I guess. This is loss of new stance. Hits you. Trying to. Nice. Great touch. That's just really solid from them.
Yeah. Tough. It's tough to set from this position too. I should have been.
Should you back up? You think you should have backed up a little bit?
100% should have backed up. Yeah. I also think it's it is a little high. We've played a different player, Sully, actually an Akron guy, one of Grant's buddies. He likes to do this, likes to put the ball in you. We played him at the beginning of the year, a while ago, and Ryan kept kind of doing this set where he'd try to put it to that side, And I was like, Ryan, just put it high and like shoot it across. It's easier for me to run across or towards the net and set you, and it makes it a little bit better than like kind of just trying to
What,
put it like
his serve receive
straight
touch,
up.
you mean? His serve receive touch.
Yeah. Not that I
Yeah.
think he was thinking about this. I think he was just like,
Trying to get a touch.
oh fuck, yeah, it's great. We got to get it up.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say in this position when someone's trying to put you into your partner, it's a lot easier to put the ball towards the net and up. Um, don't try to put it into that kind of space where like I had to make a really weird set there.
Yeah.
But yeah, not that Ryan was trying to put it there. That's just that's Grant's serve pressure.
Yeah. I mean, the height on it was great to give you enough time to adjust to it either way. I
Yeah.
guess that's a big key there. But yeah, I mean, great break there from Kingdom Come. Exactly how you draw it up, for them anyway. All right, Grant, last serve. I don't know if you double faults, but any faults? GG's. Damn. All right, it's game one. Boys are up 1-0. Game two, it went 1-1. Spoiler alert for everyone who we're not watching that game. Now let's get over to game three.
We've been here against them too. We've been in game three. The you know, tougher moments. I also think they came in with a different mentality. I want to say too. I feel like they just kind of had a nothing to lose type mentality, which was like crucial to them. Like
Do
they're
you think
the
they had
nerves
that
that
throughout the whole day?
yeah, I think they were just kind of like, meh, let's just see how we do, just do whatever. Like I feel like they definitely had that. Maybe towards the end they were kind of like less about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I kind of got that feeling. I've played them both a bit, and like I've mentioned plenty of times, I've played Grant so much, and he was just way less worried than he usually is. Even when they lost that game, like he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit, and it was different from his usual usual mentality.
It's another great serve receive from Matt there, and also a really good recovery set from Grant.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Were you guys worried, like big time? What was your thoughts
Oh yeah,
coming into game three after they took game two very, comfortably?
yeah. I told Ryan beforehand though, because he just landed some bangers game two. I was just like, all right, he can't do that again. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's like we played him so many times. Like we know he does this.
Mm-hmm.
He can't keep doing this, but he does.
Let's just freeze frame that there.
This is the exact play I'm talking about though. This
Mhm.
reverse that gets me. One,
Started from the beginning. Started from the beginning.
yeah.
But yeah, okay.
All right, so I'm shuffling with them, and I'm cutting off the circle so far. Just do a little step for that right. Come back for the left, and then I start to see. I don't start to step and cut the angle off too. I'm just stepping out, and then I do this thing. I don't know why I like freeze and try to jump at it. That's not like his best reverse. Like he could hit.
Yeah,
He
yeah, like yeah.
can and will hit better reverses than this. This is just a really tough serve receive.
Well, I mean, if you look at it
I'm
there,
not
you're like, look, you've got like four fingers to it.
right.
It's just a bad touch. And I mean, it's a bad touch. Plus, you've done so many things like not great. You've like, shuffled quite hard to the left, and also you moved back as you mentioned. So
Mhm.
you've done those things, and you've still got like a whole, almost palm to it. Just yeah, those things obviously didn't help you. Then it wasn't a great touch, but
Tough touch.
yeah, I guess that's the difference though, right? At the top level in regards to if you don't serve receive in somewhat cake those serves, then you're going to struggle because you're just going to give them confidence and momentum, and that goes the same way for you, right? Like if you see someone not cake one of your just step out lefties, that you or just one of your like 80% not powerful serves, ones that you just get on 9 out of 10 times, then you're gonna have a field day because then once you start bringing out combos or other serves, they're going to struggle. Um,
Yeah. Oh, I missed one. Let's go. I remember what's going through my head here too. I mean, it's early, so I think early game I tend to not go for a whole lot either. I think throughout this series I was just tending to like not go for a ton. I was trying to be more of like put on type guy. I'll make them play, and I'll give Ryan a chance to get them because Ryan just serves wider than me too, and he's he's had really good success against both of them and being able to ace them.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, it's probably not ideal on my part.
Wow,
Oh, what a hand, Matt.
what a touch. Tough step.
Yeah, I mean that's a hard one to make too. But yeah, off. What a hand by Matt though.
I mean, the difference here, I think, is you serve receive Matt far back, but Matt has only really shown a jam and a cut in this series so far, from what I've seen, like what I consciously like can remember. So
Yeah,
it's not
his
you have to
reverse.
worry. Yeah, so you can afford to be this little bit further back because his range isn't so far, right? His range hasn't been as wide. Definitely not
Right.
as wide as Grant, but not as wide in general. So you can give yourself that a little bit more time. It's a good receive.
Yeah, I think I was worried about churning it here too with Grant. Grant was in a great spot. And
Hmm.
so I'm trying to slide it through Matt or under Matt or just around him, and it's a great hand up.
This
Was
is
it his hand or was it his
yeah,
body? I feel like that had to have been his hand, right?
definitely his hand. Yeah, it would see it touch his body now.
Yeah,
This is a thought ready for you. Me and Preston had we recorded episode 10 of the unknown depth of Roundnet the other day, and two things sort of hit, or especially hit me at the end of the episode. We talked about it. It was like, well, the first thing was the wider of a range that the hitter wants to have when hitting. So if they want to get every square and every hit available to them, the wider and the lower that shot will be, closer to the boundaries of the range. For example, right, you hear, okay, this ball is going like dead center, like it's a bullseye set, pretty much. So you're gonna have loads of options. You have like pretty much almost 360, or you do have 360, right?
Mhm.
Depending, we can't say exactly the square, but let's just say it is bullseye. You obviously can hit it in any direction, but if you want to get all of those directions, you're gonna have to let the ball drop to its lowest point.
Yep.
And because now you hit it, you have to let that ball drop to its lowest point. You now don't get the benefit of choosing the change of projection. You don't get the option of a massive, massive boom, because if the ball is landing dead center, to have the best boom, you've got to hit it like diagonally into the net. So you get both lateral and vertical movement, and you contact it from like, let's say 4 to 12 inches. Now, you can't do that with a ball that's landing dead center on bullseye, because you can't contact it 4 to 12 inches above the net, because if you did, you would have to hit it into a side pocket,
Yep.
because you're contacting it from that high. You don't have all the squares yet. But to get those squares, you're now going to have to hit it low, because otherwise you don't get those squares. And now if you have to hit it low, the only hit that you can perform is low. That's why we see no booms when somebody gets set dead center. So people always
Yep.
think set dead center is like an amazing set. It's not always. Like there's always the perfect set for each scenario. There's not a perfect set in the world. And
Yeah.
in regards to this, it's like, if you now know this, you now like, shit. If you're a defender and you know that the ball's being set bullseye, don't worry about the boom. This is when your hands are so important, because the ball's projection can only be low. It can only be low.
Yep.
So now, not only are you coming in close anyway, because they've got loads of options, but you now know that you need to get low as a defender, because the projection of the ball can only be low. Versus if it's being set over the rim, okay, now they only have 180 degrees to hit, because that's the squares they get available to them on the net, but they can choose the projection. They could go boom, 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 or they could choose to get it right on the width of the range that they could get. But to do that,
Yeah.
they then have to let the ball drop at its lowest point. And now they wouldn't get the boom no longer, but they would get that absolute bit of a push that they can get, the absolute maximum push.
Right.
But
Right.
again, as that range extends, the middle of that range, they have the biggest boom and the furthest shot and the most likely hit. But as they go closer and closer to that range, along these range lines, the ball has to be hit low. Otherwise, you don't get those squares available to you. And that's what Preston put also very nicely as we like tied it all in. It was like the wider somebody's hitting towards their range, or the range they could potentially get, depending on where the ball's landing, the lower the hit is. Now, if you know that as a defender, you know that your body can take up the middle of the range, and then your arms can take up now these low hits of wider the range. And if you're a two-person defense, even better. Because again, now both of your bodies are in the middle of the range, and then your arms take up that absolute widest range, or widest point along that range. Because again, it can only be low. And the same with the bullseye set. It's like, again, well, like once we talk about it, like oh, it makes sense. But it's like, damn. And now once you see it, you've never seen a boom from a bullseye set because you can't. You can't contact it 8 inches above the net and get that projection to hit it really far away from the net, because otherwise you'd hit side pocket or rim. So you have to be low. So now as a principle of defense, like, oh shit, not only am I getting close because the ball's being set dead center, but I know the ball has to be hit low. That helps you so much, because the hardest thing to defend sometimes is defending the projection. It's not defending the angle sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. And that's not to say like a middle set is bad. Like there's time and like a situation for it. You know, my better option there might have been to just try and tool Matt. To try and tool Matt Cole too. Just go try to put it into his body a little bit, but I try to finesse it through them. And
I want to watch it again. I'll watch it again.
Yeah, or maybe like a backhand, something else. But it's game 3. Grant just hit 11 aces last game. I'm just trying to. A lot of my nerves were coming out, and I was just like, I need to, my right hand's my most consistent one. I need to just put it away. And because of that, I'm holding on. I want that result so bad. I'm holding on to it. I'm breaking it.
That's it. Like in pickup, like I'm letting that ball drop all the way, and then I'm doing a lovely little backhand flick. But this isn't pickup. This is game 3 of the championship. You got Clapp, who just got 11 aces the game before, and is going to serve if they win the break. She doesn't go on to serve. Matt does now, but like, you know what I mean. Nice recovery set, good footwork. Rim.
Yeah, it's tough. Ryan going for
going for the absolute range, right? Absolute maximum pull.
Yeah, he loves to hit the absolute extremes.
It's also another
pull a little bit more there, but
Grant's in a good spot though. Again, people don't rate this enough. When you're in a good position like that, like he's forcing Ryan to hit that pull,
Yeah.
And that's what causes hitting errors. You train with Ryan, mate, he isn't missing that. But because Grant's there and he's trying to get that absolute maximum, he's now, more likely to now perform a mistake.
That's actually don't get enough credit for that. That's the exact thing we do to him though. Like when we're in good spots and he just hits rim, my buddy Jack and I will just be like, oh, just locked him up. Like Ryan will put that on if we're not there. It's just because we're there. He's trying to look for something a little extra. He'll just go for too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also on that point, right, it's the reasons why you need to be such a good hitter, because not only is your form important to be able to get that absolute maximum range and get all those squares available to you, but also as a hitter, the more you can increase your range, the better of a hitter you're going to be. So it's like all sort of like ties in nicely in regards to Ryan is trying to find that range because he has such good hitting form that he can usually find that, maximum range, that he would find pulls that most other people can't. But then also it's like, not only is he then trying to do that, but with Grant being in that position, he's now forcing him to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's big, high risk, high reward type of game he plays. I think I can also do that, but you'll see a lot of times I will opt for more safer options, which could lead to more, maybe the defense getting more touches on me. But I think I'm less likely to make an error there. Mm-hmm. But even with that said, Ryan does not and has not done that a whole lot this season.
Yep.
It's a good receive. Not the greatest set. And what a touch from that kid. Man. Yeah, they were like honest defensively too. Watch Ryan. See, Ryan's just a little closer than I'm receiving. and because he also doesn't cut off the circle with Grant because it's just fast. He just goes straight out.
I also
Um,
feel he didn't shuffle as aggressively. Like
yeah,
he shuffled as soon as this ball was being tossed. Like you can see the ball's now in the air. Look, he's shuffling. Boom, that's when he starts. But he doesn't shuffle like as aggressively. Like he's pretty much planted with both feet by the time the ball's hit the net. And I think that's
right.
allowed him to be really, balanced and get the absolute reach that he can have in this situation. Yeah. Good receive.
That's a good touch. I think I get him off net here. That's a tough set out of me.
I mean, maybe landing just over rim. Yeah, I don't
I mean,
know.
it's a great up too.
It is it's a great, yeah, that hand again, like that's such a great up. Wow.
Yeah, I'd prefer to put Ryan. I mean, I would always prefer to put Ryan middle because he's so creative and his shots are so clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a great touch, and we know he's just gonna rip that. We're too far out.
But again, I think loads of defensive touches, and like if you watch more footage, loads of defensive touches happen when this happens. This again, the setter is setting when the hitter's not ready. So either you now set him with the normal amount of time you think you're going to give him, which now isn't enough time for him. So now it causes him to not as good of a hit because he's not as set. Or now you're going to have to give him loads more time than normal, which now gives the defense more time than normal. I mean, because look, Matt's in a let's be honest, Matt's in a bad position right now.
Yeah,
He's out of the play. Like we talked about the principles. Like you want to be 180, unless you're again specifically changing it to suit a specific hitter. Like again, these are the guidelines, but of course, if you want to change it, manipulate it slightly, dependent on the hitter. They've got no left hander or they never get set on the left. Right, you can change it slightly, but in regards to just like guidelines, I mean, if you're not 180, Matt can never affect this play now. He's also at 10 feet out. So he's
yeah,
also, again, that's going to be a problem as well because he's going to be very late to get to a defensive spot. But Grant then makes up for it by, cutting off so much of that angle that Ryan has available to him. But again, so many. My point was before I got into that. My point was like you see so many defensive touches occur from this situation where the hitter's not ready, and now the setter
yeah,
needs to make a decision: either more height, so then giving more height to the defense, or less height, but now the hitter's not as ready as they could or would be. I think if Ryan was more ready for that hit, he performs maybe more of a pull, hits it lower, or maybe opts for a boom because he's more set with his feet.
yeah,
But another
yeah.
big break from Kingdom Come.
Not the greatest set.
I was
Let's
surprised
see.
when I
Oh,
downloaded this file. Hey, mate, how is this game? This game is 16 minutes 45 long. We started it at the game actually started like a minute and a half, and there's been a timeout. Does he
yeah.
hit? Does he hit every serve now from to the end of the game?
Look how wide that was.
That
I
yeah, he
remember
almost
this
hit
one because I
Matt.
remember when I went down, I was just looking at Matt Cole's leg. I'm like, I'm really close to him.
Yeah,
I think I am a little bit closer to 7. I still think it's just a little bit closer. Just cut off an angle just a little bit more and just trust my hands.
I just think you're a little bit. I think you're a little bit slow in moving. Like I
Yeah,
think you're in like point A and B now, like between his lefty and righty, and now as he tosses the ball, I don't think you rotate enough between because he's a lefty, B and D, lefty cut, lefty reverse.
yeah. I think that reverse
But
trips
the
me up.
reverse is scary.
Yeah, yeah. So do you see,
I,
even when he hits a not too good one, it's just off my hand in a weird way. So it's kind of pinning me to stay
I,
still a little bit more.
and yeah. Again, even underrate. That's like another benefit of like the reverse. And loads of people would talk about it and say it, but it's like that reverse is pinning you. It's going to force you to second guess your movement. And now, if you second guess your movement and you read that toss now later than normal, you're not going to get to that lefty cut. That's why I think if Vinny starts increasing and using more of a reverse in his game, he's he Vinny won't get more. He get more aces, but he get more cut aces. People may get his reverse, but as long as he just throws them, it just
Mhm.
means that people may not move as quickly to his point A and B because they're just a millisecond worried about the reverse. So now he's going to get more
Right.
aces just by having people think about it a little bit more. he actually messaged me right after we did analyze the critical hit game, and he was like, "Oh yeah, how did I play?" And I just told him like, "Yeah, you served pretty well. Your setting wasn't great. Your hitting was really good. Just send like a message just before he'd watch it. I was like, I would have loved to seen you hit a few reverses." And he was like, "Oh yeah, that was the one thing like I definitely should have. Oh, I definitely should have like when I think about the game after." And I was like, "Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably would have got so many more cuts like A and Bs on them because they would have had to at least worry about it. They weren't really worried about it, and they was pretty happy."
Right.
Um, yeah, and you both had great footwork serve receiving him as we discussed last week.
Yeah. See that last one? Oh my gosh, he's just going on a tear, bro. The last one too, I received it. And it was just a great defense from them.
Yeah,
Just panicked and just trying to rip.
watch that one quick. Back. Yeah, good
Finally
receive.
received one.
Did you lip that up
That's
or did he
it.
touch it?
I think he touched it. I want to say.
I mean, it's a crazy lip up if it was a lip up.
No,
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
shoulder.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wow.
And again, I think if a more like game one maybe, or a more like relaxed Thomas will might just try and tool him, or might just try to look for something cheeky. But I'm going dominant hand. I'm like, fuck, like I need this point, and I'm just hitting home.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Which is then a bit of a negative circle, right? Because that's the time when you really do need yeah a bit of flair maybe to win a point over the guys who are defending so well right now.
Right.
Damn,
Damn. Yeah.
just like that, like bad touch, a good defensive break.
Said nothing. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I won't doubt it here though. I'll have to just flip a coin. Oh, didn't get ace.
Yo, yo, what a hold! That might be one of the best holds I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was planned. I was like, you know what? This whole hitting three isn't working.
Yeah,
Why don't I just send one back here and
on
see
my
how they do?
wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look at your head. You
Well,
see
I don't
that?
know
You're
how
like,
Grant saw.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how. I don't know how
I'll
Grant
do.
saw it coming.
I'll do. I'll do.
I was like, that was. I thought that was a great hit on for me. I don't know how Grant saw
Yeah.
it coming. At this
How'd
point,
he
I
get
was
that?
just
How'd he get that?
over.
Oh, mate, that's hilarious. And then I think he clips front rim.
That's a that's tough.
That
But
is,
they're
yeah.
up so much. He had already gotten a lot previously. Or they?
Yeah.
I'm serving. Yep, bread and butter combo. And yeah, I'm stuck in this weird point right now. I'm like, we're down. Like, do I just like go crazy and try to go for some crazy stuff, or do I put on, try to get some points slowly back and let see what Ryan can do? And I'm just ramming.
Was you in your head thinking a little bit like it's game three, they've seen a lot of your combos already, or and you've already like used a lot of like you used like I say fake right, hit left, and then on the next one you use like a fake right, fake left, hit right. Had you felt like you used a lot of those combos like already and you felt like where do I go? What do I do now? Like what's my next sequence? Or was that not in your mind, more of like, hey, do I put on my high percentage serves or am I going for bangers right now?
Um, I I think I was. I mean, I was just freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, Grant's been popping off. They've been touching everything. Um, and I just think I was in this weird spot where I was like, I'm not trying to hit like my crazy stuff because I don't think I went for a single lefty reverse, which is a big one of mine. Um, so I was just trying to go for like not my like highest ace percentage serves, but like my righty cut is something that's harder for me to land compared to like my other two serves.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of knew like I feel like when I land it on Grant, it gets him a lot, and I think I went for that a little bit more than I should have. This is a great serve from Ryan. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
him. His from that stance, he messes with Matt Cole's footwork a lot and gets him to do something weird, and then just ends up cranking one. But Yeah, I was definitely in a weird spot mentally with that. And trying to do combos, just combos alone, I don't think is ideal, which was my whole game plan for the championship.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. To establish and then start doing the combos based on the serves that you'd already established in the game.
Um, no, I guess what I'm saying is like I like the whole day I was just doing combos instead of like stepping, faking, and reacting to them.
I got you. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, and I think when I'm at my best, I'm doing both. I'm doing kind of everything and thinking of everything. When I tend to get into like, oh, I'm just gonna do combos, it's more of like I'm just. I think I'm thinking most of the time. I'm trying to just be more consistent.
Hmm. And when you mean like,
Um,
I sort of like to put it sort of to the like the situational, like you're playing the situation when you're just like reading the serve receiver. Um, like in regards to a normal tournament, you say you do it like half. Like sometimes you're just getting from the service line, throwing some fakes right left, and then you're deciding in those 5 seconds what serve you're doing, dependent on the serve receiver's footwork. And then other times you're just predetermined combination in your mind, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's when I'm at my best, and that's what I was doing early in the year. I think as the year went on, I would do more and more combos. That's that layout that was so good.
Yeah, that's tough, isn't it?
And again, it's the same shot for me too. It's always I'm just trying to like smack a right, and yeah, lefty set too.
Yeah. Again, Matt Cole underrated.
Oh yeah, very good
Hopefully, well,
player.
not now, maybe. Two majors, two different partners, championship win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he's definitely like the I don't know the word for it. I want to say like the rock that holds the team, or like I don't want to say like the glue that holds the team. But I think even when because I think even when Grant's playing his worst, I think it's fair to say Grant's not always like the most consistent. Um, but even when he's playing at his worst, there's still such like a tough team because I think Matt Cole is just like I think his floor and his ceiling are, or I think his floor is just high. I
Yeah.
was about to say his floor and ceiling are close, but I don't, I don't think that's the case. I think Matt Cole's ceiling is a lot higher than his floor, but his floor is just so much higher than a lot of other players.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Like, I think it's like that just comes down as an athlete, right? Like the higher your ceiling, the lower your floor, the more inconsistent you can be because now there's a bigger range between your top and bottom. But the closer your ceiling to your floor may also be an indication of you need to increase your ceiling a little bit more to now get your your maximum potential also increased. Like that's a sport in general, right? But
Yeah,
it's definitely a great yeah, Matt in this regard, he's out of the two players, right? Grant has a very high ceiling and he has a lower floor than Matt, whereas Matt definitely is much closer in between his maximum maximum a ceiling, maximum floor.
yeah, and that dynamic works really well too. Like when you have you know someone who's so highly or their ceiling and floor so like drastically apart. I think it's really important having another player there to kind of to be that middle ground.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, you'll see teams who both guys have a crazy high ceiling and low floor, and then they're not consistent. That's how I used to play a lot of the time. And you could just get upset, or you could or you could upset people. It's not. You need consistency to win
Yep.
a tournament. But oh,
Just watching this point back. It's another great reserve by Matt. Like I haven't seen Matt be ace too many times in this series.
yeah,
Um,
great work. And that's what I was saying earlier with my serves too, trying to get on the right to give him a tougher touch. Um,
yep.
dang, tough first touch too.
It's a good recovery set.
Oh,
Like
that really?
just would have clipped the tiniest bit of the front rim.
Dang.
Yeah,
I'm so sad about that one too. You could see.
yeah, yeah. That would have been a break as well, right, for you guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably like they're up by quite a few,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's like when they're up by quite a few and then you get a chance like that for a big break, then you don't get
And
it. Like, geez, what do we have to do? What do we have to do here?
right.
Yeah.
Get the ball in the Ryan's hand. Have our last hope right here. Dang.
Let me got Grant back on the ball. I mean, Grant has of course got some aces in this game, quite a few, but I mean, we didn't cover it, but I mean, game two, there was a lot, and there was a lot back to back.
Yeah. Yeah. He went on a big run, and then I think we took a timeout, and then he just continued it. Oh man. Let me see that one again too. Where's my footwork? I am staggered actually. I guess I should be standing back a little bit more and just really ready. Because Ryan's done this a couple times where he's kind of put it to my left side. Uh, I think I should have adapted here to kind of try it,
Lower, yeah.
try and get ready because he's kind of shooting him. I think he's done that 2 or 3 times now. Like the ball's generally going back onto like Grant's half of the
Yes, yeah, the court.
the court.
I would just say that I think Ryan's footwork is so good here. I think the only problem is just the ball's projection is just so much lower than he expects it.
Yeah,
And you can see it like comes off of the very bottom third of his hand and then rolls up and then ends up hitting his palm, bouncing off hard and going flat towards the other side. Damn, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. When somebody serves like again like that hard, and then sometimes it's now going to hit you or come knee height, and then sometimes just below shoulder height. That's also
yeah,
just like a completely other thing to worry about.
right.
Also something underrated potentially. I don't think many people really try to do it, right? But changing the projection of your output on your serve. Like sometimes going for like a super low cuts, and then sometimes just going for like a hard cut that is not going to be as low, but just changing that projection sometimes. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but could be
You could do it on command, but yeah, I mean
yeah,
it's
if you could
hard.
do it on command. I mean, it'd be very difficult, but you never know.
All the variability of it too.
Oh.
There you go. Cutting off or not cutting off angle. Footwork. Probably a little slow there too.
Yeah, I mean, watch it back quickly. Yeah, just that's the thing, right? That's the tough thing. Like you don't
Go back again.
yeah. You move like you shuffle with the with the toss, and you also, I mean, you move back, which again, like we talked about, like again, you take less percentage of that range, but you get a hand. But I think maybe that bad hand. Then the question now is, right, in my opinion, is do you get this bad hand contact, this bad touch, because you just haven't got enough serve receive reps of serve receiving somebody with that much power and pace that, of course, we're going to need as humans, right? Our reaction time and our touch needs to improve, but we don't get that without reps. So that's one. The second reason of why this touch isn't maybe as good as you want it to be is because if you take this step back, as you've said, and you take less of his range, you're now more likely that the ball is going to come off maybe your finger because you're reaching for it versus coming off, that middle third of your hand. And it looks slightly if it comes off your fingers because maybe, again, you're not taking as much. The question is, if you're closer now, do you get a good touch because now your hand, you can contact it in your middle third? Or do you still get a bad touch because your touch isn't quite good enough, like again and again and again to serve receive this type of serve? I don't know the answer. I don't know what you think, but it's clear that those are two reasons of why this particular serve receive wasn't as good as it could or should have been.
Can we go back and see Ryan's again too, real quick? I just want to compare some. But I will
Mhm.
say from playing Grant, this is like a year or two ago. I played against him in some finals of some MRA tournament. I just remember my partner was Ravi, and that was the first time Ravi had received him, and Ravi honestly didn't receive him the whole game, I think. And so
Mhm.
game one we got destroyed, and so game two I was like, I just need to be closer. And I remember like my touch wasn't that good, but it was the fact that I was able to touch it and get it up, and Ravi was a good enough setter to get us back and get us in the game.
Mhm.
Um, and that I remember that was being like the key factor of how we won that series. Was that one more time? Let me see Ryan's footwork again. I feel like Ryan almost shuffled with like he's shuffling a little different from me too, which is helping him get there a little better. Like his shuffles aren't as dramatic. Or maybe he's almost looks like he's just like maybe moving a different foot than I am. Like sorry, it sounded weird. Um, how do I put it? Like I feel
Wait.
like I'm very obviously
Yeah.
stepping like left foot, pushing right
Yeah.
up. But
Yeah. Like yeah, that is clear. Right now, watch it here. Like when you're here, so you're in the midpoint, right? You take your first step with your left,
yeah,
and then you're like pushing off with your sort of right and left, and then your right lifts, and now you're doing a shuffle step. But before you do your shuffle
yeah,
step, let's say like you, because a shuffle step is where you like replace one foot with the other, like you shuffle either laterally or diagonally in one direction, and you basically like sort of replace one foot with the other. So left, right, then. And in this example, it looks like you yeah, you lift your left foot beforehand, like you
yeah.
move your left and then you shuffle. I don't know if that. I mean, I don't. We're not going to watch obviously back all the serve receives now. It'd be interesting to see if you did that on other serve receives.
I think I did. I think the big thing with Ryan was that he just doesn't do that.
I think that probably a
Push,
lets him move quicker laterally, right? Because you won't.
yeah,
That's less time because you're doing less steps. Because he's here in the same spot you were, and then as soon as the ball's tossed, now, boom, ball's in the air. He does a much smaller steps. He does a much smaller. So he is lifting his left as well. He lifts
but
his
he's
left
pushed.
here.
I think he's also pushing off that right like immediately.
Yeah. It looks like yeah, most of his force is coming from left. And I don't know if he's even trying to lift this left foot. He's maybe just, keeping it ready, as you've said. He's just like shuffling them, keeping them very like just above the ground, just in case if he needs to move back and forth. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but this bit here is very clean where he just goes push off from his right, replace
Yep.
left, boom, and he moves very quickly.
Where me?
Yeah. You have that left one in the air for longer, which I think means you can't now push off the right until that left foot comes down, right?
Yeah.
And then once you do,
I just
yeah.
I really take like a little hop too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that helped to look at that.
Yeah, it'd be
Uh,
interesting to see back if you watch a lot of these receives, if you were doing that.
I think that likely probably helps me a little bit against like Vinny. I think that's I'll have to rewatch that game. I wonder if my footwork is similar there,
Hmm.
just because he doesn't have his reverse isn't as massive, so I could take like a big like a bigger shuffle or a bigger leap like that.
Hmm.
I'm guessing I'm just gonna try and put this on or no. No, another right.
Wow, what a hit on that.
That
That's
was
like
good.
back when it hit early, like to get all that range available, he has to hit low. Like
Yep.
he could boom this, he could boom this, he could boom this, he could boom this. He's maybe got a pull. He's now maybe got a pull, boom, boom, as it's dropping. Oh, look, now I've got, it's even though it's an off net set, boom, now I've got push. but the push can only be low now because I've had to contact it this low.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder where you guys. I think you guys are just a little late rotating, right? Like we talked about, if you're not 180, then you're going to be probably again too far away to affect the play when the ball's being set. Because your distance, I mean, you again, in the optimal world, again, you want to be inside that 7 foot circle. But if you guys aren't 180, it means that you're now, it's almost too much ground for you to cover. And you chose to go, that way around instead of,
That way around instead of going straight to yeah. I
yeah.
think that was a big issue with that too. Because even if I'm not necessarily there for that, if I start darting that other way, I think Matt's likelihood of trying to hit this shot that might influence him to not hit that.
You mean go the push way or you mean go the way you did?
If I go the other way, the opposite
It's the
way of
way he
which
hits,
I
the
went.
direction he hits.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if I try to like cover there, he's going to be less likely to just try and sneak that shot.
Like hopefully me and Preston like discuss this on like UDOs. Like hopefully as defenders, we should be able to know where the ball is landing by the time the ball has reached its apex, reached its highest point. Because now by
Mhm.
the time the ball's here, if we're that good at reading the set as defenders, then we would know that by the time the ball's here, we would know that this ball's landing somewhere like here.
Yeah,
And
that's
now
a mistake by me too.
his angles are push here and like a pull there. So now
Yeah,
you need to decide as a defense, is it quicker for you to go either, right? Is it quicker for you to go take this line or for you to take this line? And Ryan the same. Is it better for him to take this line or take this line? And I mean, it seems pretty clear in this example now. When you write it back and you do it like
yeah,
this, it'll be much clearer that Ryan takes this line, right? And his left
push.
hand has that, and then you come this line because now you're both moving to the shortest option or the shortest line available. But this is hard to do, obviously. But if you guys are in correct positions, so if you were 180, like if you was here when this ball was being, I'm going to do a different colors, make it easy. But if you was here when the ball was being set and Ryan was where he was at, or in the other case, if you was here where you're at and Ryan was opposite you and he was here, then again, it would be much easier because your distances to both lines would be shorter on average as a team. That's
Yeah,
why again, like 180 is so important because if you don't, then you're gonna have to do this big distance, him that little distance, or again, if your guys are like this, you only have to move this tiny distance, he only has to move that tiny distance.
right, right.
But it's again deciding of what line do you each go to. But I think that's why again, like we discussed, like the first three principles of defense are so important. If you get those wrong, you're gonna set yourself up for a bit of a struggle. And the first three are like get opposite each other when the ball's being set, read the set immediately out the hand, because you're not waiting for the hit to be made. And then the third one is being the same distance as the setter from the net with a threshold at
Right.
7 feet. But yeah, good set though, still by Grant and a great hit by Matt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hindsight. I think I did just misread this too. I thought it was going to be more set short, and Ryan was going to be more of a push, and I would be going for like the pull.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a better set than I anticipated.
Yeah, which is what happens all the time. Also, like no one's going to read the set perfectly every time.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, and
Right in.
that was the game. Um, yeah, obviously you were disappointed at the end.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add in regards to like after the tournament, how you felt, what you were watching the other games, like how the general experience was after the games? Yeah, anything you want to add in regards to this game also, if you want to add anything on top of what we discussed.
I mean, looking back, a lot of the service was tough. It wasn't like the one thing, like, kind of, I think the panicky hitting was a big part of it, but the serve receive was tough returning Grant, and the footwork aspect of it was brutal. Yeah, I mean, they played great. They played great throughout the whole day as they would go on to win it all, which I was happy for them and for Critical Hit because Midwest still won overall. So
Yeah.
my mindset was like, man, like I lost, but at least like the my two like uh Midwest boys, at least they got up there and
Justin
did it.
and Grant being that for not maybe everyone who knows where the boys are at.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Justin Barr and Grant Clafwick.
Yeah.
If I had to lose to anyone or see anyone else win it, like those two were like, definitely my the ones that hurt a little less. But it was tough nonetheless, and watching them later on. I was definitely really impressed. I didn't have like a whole lot of sort like faith in them to go that far though. I was I think I was in my mind I was like, yeah, they're playing great, but I didn't think that they were capable of doing it the whole day.
Mhm.
Um I think that's what impressed me the most about them is that they did play like that the whole day. I mean I've seen Matt do it before, but I haven't really seen Grant be able to do that consistently throughout the whole day.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, that was very impressive to me, and I was happy for him overall.
Does it scare you at all thinking about next season of like, if Grant produced that sort of consistency and that amount of variety at the championship at the end of the season, what he might be like at the beginning of 2024?
No, no. I it just I mean I'm obviously happy for him and they're my buddies, but um I think it's just gonna make me work a little bit harder. If I'm able to. We'll see if Rogue's playing together and stuff again next year. But um my mindset is I, want to get my revenge and kind of seeing them more as a like they're always gonna be my buddies, always gonna be like, my like somewhat of teammates in my eyes, but
Mm-hmm.
seeing them more as like real opponents. Not saying I didn't view them as that before, but
I know what you mean, but
yeah,
yeah.
to me in my mind, the guys going into the season, I was thinking more of like Gabe and Fred and Buddy and Clark. Like those were like the guys I
Mm-hmm.
was like seeing when I was practicing
Yep.
or lifting weights or whatever I was doing. Like those are the guys I'm going to beat. It wasn't really like Grant or Justin, but I think that's changed my mind a little bit now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not
Makes
just
sense.
on them, but a lot on other players too, and a lot of up and coming players that I know are going to be very good next season.
Mm-hmm. As much as everyone is fans of Matt and Grant, they're the team now to beat, for a lot of people moving into during the off season and even during the start of next season. So
Oh yeah, pressure's on them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, yeah, we'll see. Pressure makes diamonds or not.
Mm-hmm. Did on the championship, but yeah, the season's another thing, especially during an off-season grind that a lot of people will now be underway in. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna stop the recording pretty soon. I thought I'd just ask what game might you want to do next if we do an episode 3. We'll see how it goes, see how people like this one. But yeah, little thoughts, anything, initial thoughts on an episode 3 and what game you would like to potentially cover. I will mention I'm working my best in trying to get drone footage from the Round Network, whether that be drone footage from the championship or just another game that they have. But it'd be great to analyze from a bird's eye view, a pro game. Um, but hopefully, maybe we'll have until next time. But if we don't, what would be a potential game you'd like to cover?
Um, I'll have to look around. Personally, I think I'd want to watch other teams play once.
Mm-hmm.
Um, unless we really want to do like another rogue game. I mean, I'm obviously down to do that, but I think it'd be interesting to watch some other players and try to see what they do differently. Um, yeah, maybe we could like put a poll up on Instagram too, see what if anyone has some ideas. But I think some kind of focus on Server C would also be ideal. I'd like to watch. Maybe we just watch Kingdom Come versus Judgment Day. I'd be interested to see Fred's footwork and his decisions against Grant,
Yeah,
along with Gabe.
that's a great shout. But yeah, I'll have to think about it. Either do a poll or get some games ready, or try and get some drone footage of that game. I don't know if they did drone film it, but serve receive with the drone angle would be a great like. If we do see like obviously seeing Roundnet right as a series, but if we have like this week focus on serve receive or this week focus on defense, for example, because if we're not doing it team based, such as watching road games, it would be nice maybe to have a overall arching focus. But we'll see. Have a think about it, right? So brainstorming. We'll see what happens.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like a couple games.
Sounds good. And I'm going to end the recording. I thank those who are watching and have watched all of this for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it.